Sandage, and Ray Sandage would call me almost every year, and that was before you moved to where you are now.
Yeah.
And so Ray would call and say, hey, I need somebody to talk to our men's group. And so I just had a lot of admiration for him and for just a whole lot of people. So it was like family. Russ Griffith, he gets pretty excited about things. He was excited, and so that was kind of the lead-in to our being aware. And of course, then they bought it and went to work on it.
And he was so sold on the project.
Yeah, he was sold.
Yeah, just neat. And what he was doing and inspiring the people around him.
I don't remember what the deal was. You were getting ready to borrow some money or something, and so Ruth and I said, hey, if you need a bridge or something, and we didn't even, it was pretty loose. And so we said we'd be glad to, because we had sold a piece of property we had, and we said, if that'll help. And so a little while after that, they called and said, yeah, we can use some help now. And we were just taken by the project. I mean, you go in there because we're from warehouses, and they described, and when Ruth and I went inside, we were impressed.
Well, for years, we would drive by and see the warehouse.
Yep.
And of course, never realizing that one day it would be God's house. I mean, it was God's house. It just wasn't functioning as that at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did you know Mr. McQuaig?
Oh, yes. John is an amazing person, and we could tell you some things. He does things that nobody knows about, and he is beyond smart, brilliant as far as a businessman, but he also has a big heart, and he's generous.
We owned the warehouse for a number of years. We had stored apples in there originally, and then we stored nectarines in there. And we would use it just for a short period of time in the summer when the nectarines were ready to ship. So we weren't using it a lot, and so I got a call from Russ Griffith, and I'd known him as the county assessor here and a friend, and so he called and said, we're thinking about doing something about our church. We have a problem with the building we're in. It's not big enough, and and so he said, would you come up and take a look at it with me, and would you be interested in selling that warehouse? And I said, well, I'd certainly think about it. You never quite know when God's knocking on the door, right? And so you can't say no.
Right.
And obviously we're using it, but maybe it makes sense to have the church have it. So yeah, I'll be happy to go up there and meet you and look at your church and see what you're doing now, and then take a look at the warehouse. And so I met him up there on a Saturday. We went through the existing church and kind of what the options were with that, and what they owned the building and what could they do with it. And then we went over and looked at the warehouse, and we started in the upper portion where the kind of Quonset hut portion was, and went through that, and then we're going to go down into the basement because there was the back towards the road. And I said, just a minute, I got to go find the lights, because I didn't spend a lot of time in there. My manager in the ENIAC did, but I didn't spend much time in there, so I wasn't sure where the lights were. And Russ like, okay. Russ always pretty enthusiastic, and so I said, I'll go down around the bottom and open the door, and then we'll be able to see getting down in there. We'll figure out where the lights are. So I go down and unlock that door and start coming in, and I hear Russ, and he's falling down the stairs.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard this story, but he fell down the stairs, and he hurt himself badly. He came up out of the dark, and his glasses were broken, and there was blood running down his face, and of course I thought, well, this deal's over, right? But no, it wasn't over. It was not over at all. And I think he actually had to go to the hospital after that because he had a concussion, and because he just fell down these dark stairs, So anyway, we got him kind of bandaged up, and then got the lights on and went down and looked at it. So yeah, we're interested in it, and so then we just started talking about how we could do it. And obviously a part of it was being willing to finance it, take a contract for the church, and they didn't have much money to put into it. They had a little equity in their building, and so I looked at it and thought, well, You know, it's a bit of a flyer, of course, you know, but I thought, well, it could work. You know, it looked like there was a lot of enthusiasm, and there was you kind of see God working in this church. And so part of it was sort of getting out of the way and saying, okay, let's let this happen. So it did. From the beginning, they made double payments. You know, I mean, I think the payment was supposed to be $800 a month, and they're paying $1,600 a month. And checked with them, yeah, no, we want to pay double payments. We want to pay it off as soon as we can. So they paid double payments all the way through, and now it's paid off. I mean, it's amazing. So pretty much a miracle. Now the work that's been done on the church on top of it, I mean, they just went in and just really worked, as you know, really just redid the building because it was not in good shape when they got it, but they worked with it and made it work. It's exciting that NEI could have such a strong ministry location there. I'm excited that we were able to be involved in that in our kind of small way. You've been faithful to your calling. It's exciting that you've been able to make this all work. I mean, it's amazing. It takes a community to make that happen, and you've made it happen, from the volunteers to the people that donate materials to whatever. And yet you made the payments and you got it. You know, it's all done. So it's paid for. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.